All right. Welcome to From Idea to Business Masterclass. I'm so happy that you could join tonight. I am Shayla Jackson, and we're just going to jump on in and get started. So this masterclass is for you if you are ready to take the limits off of your income. You want to add additional income to your pockets. You're looking to build wealth and leave a financial legacy for your family. Maybe you're thinking about or are already to start a business. You're already in business and looking to grow it, or you just are here to learn. If either of these are true for you, you are in the right place. So before we get started, I just want to give you a couple of reminders because there's a lot of information, a lot that I want to pour into you tonight, and I want to make sure that you are able to consume it and digest it all, but also you'll get the replay. And when you get the replay, I don't want you to be hearing some of the things that we covered tonight for the first time. So if you are at home, please turn off the TV, find a quiet spot. If that is possible. If you have children, this will be a great time to delegate the kids to your partner or spouse, or, if you can, find something for them to do. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb, silent, or vibrate. I hope you grab pen and paper, a couple of sheets, because you're going to need it. And what I'm going to ask is, because of the nature of the class, I'm going to ask that you write your questions down on a sheet of paper, maybe at the top corner, and just hold it for the Q&A sessions, because it's going to be easier for me to answer your questions if it's in the if we wait for the Q&A session versus everyone chatting in the chat box and I'm not able to get to it. So just write your questions down and hold it for the Q&A session. I will have a couple of check-ins throughout so that you'll be able to ask some questions. Maybe there's something you didn't understand, or maybe you just want more clarity or information about that. That's perfect. That's fine. Just make sure that you write it down, and then when it's time, type it in the chat box. All right, so let's get started. Here is what we're going to cover tonight in this masterclass. We are going to go over the 5 steps to go from idea to business. We're also going to talk about how to create multiple streams of income from one idea. We're also going to cover one of the #1 reasons businesses don't take off. Also, how to start generating cash flow today, plus a few bonuses along the way. Now that we've covered the masterclass, you guys know that you are in the right place. Let me introduce myself. So, like I said in the beginning, I am Shayla Jackson. I am a transformational speaker and breakthrough coach. I specialize in training and equipping leaders, women, and entrepreneurs to break through the wall standing between them and their purpose so that they can create the mental, spiritual, and financial wealth of their dreams. One of the things standing in the way of financial wealth for so many individuals, but particularly women and entrepreneurs, is sometimes a lack of clarity. The other thing is just a lack of knowledge of how to get started and how to be successful in business. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight to help you break through that wall, because sometimes you don't realize you have a limitation until you break through that limitation. So my background, I am a lawyer by training. I graduated from Georgetown Law. My training was particularly in criminal defense and trial litigation. So a lot of the skills that I'll be using tonight, because we're going to talk about this later on in the masterclass, I am using in my business that I use and trained in the legal profession. I am also a teacher and a trainer. And so some of my background is the past year, I was a teaching fellow at Georgetown Law, where I was training and teaching law students how to be better and effective lawyers through the art and the lens of teaching law in the community to lay persons. So I have a myriad myriad of experiences in that way. And of course, I'm an entrepreneur. On the side, you just see a couple of speaking engagements of places where I have spoken over the last couple of years. So let's get to my entrepreneur journey, right? Because we are talking about business, and like, what the heck do I know about business? Well, I first started out in elementary school, middle school, hustling candy. All right. Y'all remember those candies, especially the sour straws. I don't know if you had those, the sour straws where, you know, you could have 2 packs for $1. Well, I was flipping those babies for cash. Okay. The young entrepreneur spirit starting already. Fast forward, I get to college. I'm not working. And I figured, hey, I'm going to clubs, I'm going to parties, I might as well get paid. So I become a club promoter, and I started getting paid for every single person that decides to sign up on my guest list to get into, you know, Love Nightclub or any other nightclub. Apparently, I was doing so well that some of the upperclassmen found me, and they invited me on to be a part of their company, Image Entertainment Group, where I became the director of public relations, and we began hosting our own parties at clubs. And so you see the flyer right there. Hosting our own flyers at club, renting buses, shuttling students from the dorm rooms over to the club so they can have a good time. And that's how I began to understand a little bit more about business, right? How do you begin to network with club owners, create contracts? How do you negotiate getting a cut of the bar and the proceeds of the door and the whoever paid, $20 for guys, so I began to learn a little bit more. And while, of course, I did probably didn't have any business being in the club, especially those that required you to be 21 and up when I was a freshman in college, I had access to spaces very early on. So fast forward a little bit, a couple of more years, maybe 2 or 3 years, I graduate college. And I can no longer work for my government job because I'm no longer a student at University of Maryland. And so I decided, I get this idea and I say, you know what? I am going to go into photography. I'm going to start a photography business. The only thing I knew about photography was that I took really great photos with my disposable camera. I had a lot of photos and I decided, you know what? I'm going to do it. I literally just went online. I bought a professional camera. I invested in a lot of equipment, registered my LLC, and I began promoting myself as a photographer. And I got my first gig was taking photos for a 25-year wedding vow renewal. From there, it went on and on. I did maternity photos. I did networking events, fashion shows, nonprofit fundraiser events. And then I got booked to take photos for a wedding. So, I went from didn't know anything about photography to starting and growing and learning more as I took on more gigs. I graduated from photography when I went to law school because I could not keep up the photography business anymore. So once I graduated law school, I decided, hey, another idea to start a business. And I decided that I wanted to become a speaker. I had spoken on several panels and I said, I really, really like this. So I want to speak, I want to empower, and I also want to teach. So I had this idea to teach on happiness and success from a mindset perspective. I created a workbook, 3 Ways to Master the Art of Being Happy, which is still on Amazon. And that was the first online class I did. The amazing thing was there was so much doubt that I had about whether or not I could sell something. It's one thing where you have a service like photography where everybody is looking for a photographer, but to go and now be presenting yourself as someone who is supposed to know what they're talking about in this particular area, how are you going to now generate people coming into your arena that you do not know, learning from you, and turning that into a business? Well, people showed up, and I offered for the first time my ebook for $12, and people purchased it. Fast forward, I decided to do a women's empowerment event where tickets were $25. women showed up, and I was able to not only recoup the discount I got on the hotel, the room rental, but I was also able to make a profit. Fast forward a little bit more, and then I'm getting paid to come in and teach, including getting paid to speak, right, for $1,500 for a speaking fee for an event where I only spoke for 1 hour. So this has been my entrepreneur journey, where I have been learning through success and through failure what works, what doesn't work, but also how to keep going and persevering, and that literally you can go from idea to business, and I want to show you how. So now we are about to jump into the content. Type 1 in the chat box if you are still, if you're still with me, if you can hear me. I want to make sure there are no technical difficulties with the webinar right now, with the masterclass. Just type 1 in the chat box. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm gonna keep on moving on with the content. So it all started with every single business idea, an idea, right? So we're talking about the 5 steps to go from idea to business. You start with an idea, okay? And so here's the thing that you have to understand is that ideas are not the dream itself. It is not the business itself. The idea is just an invitation for you to dream. It's an invitation to dream. So the idea can come in the form of a thought, a passing thought, a suggestion. It can even come divinely through a vision or actual dream by God. And so this is what we have to understand, because a lot of us get these ideas and sometimes they sound so crazy that we dismiss them. And because we dismiss them, we miss out on our opportunity to allow for wealth to come into our lives. So we have to begin to understand that ideas are not just, right, the final thing, but ideas are an invitation for you to dream a little bit more, to encourage and to begin to explore what would this idea look like. And here's the thing, to do that without limitation, because dreams are about creating the future. Dreams are about the impossible becoming possible. And this is where innovation is born, because ideas that are birthed into businesses push us forward into the future, right? The iPad, the iPhone, airplanes, all of those. So ideas are only seeds, but seeds have to be nurtured, they have to be watered, they have to be developed. So your idea can come and grow into a business in 3 different ways. And so one of the ways in which you can go from idea to business is, one, your idea can be something to invent something new. The second thing is it can be to improve upon something else. Maybe you're out somewhere and you are getting service from another business and you're like, well, why don't they do it this way? And why don't they have it that way? Right? You begin to have these questions and these thoughts about how the service or a product can be better. That is an idea that can grow into a business to improve something. Okay? And then the third is to sell someone else's stuff. Guys, you can sell someone else's stuff legally, and make money from it. People do it all the time. So just remember that in the idea stage of your business, right, creativity and imagination are crucial here, because many dream with the idea that somehow the idea and the dream must be limited to reality. And the truth is, the only limitation is the one you put on your creativity. Because when you have an idea and you begin dreaming and you begin nurturing it, you have to not worry about where you're going to get the money or the finances. You have to keep it in the realm of impossibilities and just have fun like you would like a little kid, because that is where true innovation and where true businesses that change culture, that impact nations, that impact communities and really bring in wealth come from. So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite stories that I share, and you probably heard it before, but I absolutely love it. And it is the pet rock story. Okay, so this is not the actual pet rock, guys. This is my pet rock that I created way back when I was in elementary school, right? Like, isn't he cute? He's so cute and adorable, right? So the pet rock story. So back in, I believe it was 1975, a guy named Gary had an idea to create a pet rock. He was out at the bar with his friends and he was joking around about how, you know, pet rocks would be so much better than actual pets because you didn't have to clean up after them. You wouldn't have to do all of the things that you have to do with actual pets. His friends thought he was crazy, right? They laughed at the idea and pretty much was like, yeah, nah, they threw it away. Gary took the idea seriously, right? He had an idea and he took it seriously. Gary went out and he searched for the best rock. And once he found the best rock, he found the best packaging, and he wrote a 32-page manual on how to take care of your pet rock. The 32-page manual included how to teach your pet rock tricks, to sit, roll over, to even play dead. Guys, Gary made $1 million from selling the pet rock. Okay, so many of us probably would have dismissed the idea of a pet rock. Like, right, why are you going to have a rock as a pet? That's not going to work. And the reality of things, we probably would have thought nobody is going to buy it. But people bought the pet rock, and Gary became a millionaire because he decided to take one idea and turn it into a business. So let's break the numbers down, because making $1 million is not impossible, right? So the pet rock sold for $4 per pet rock. $1 million divided by 4 is 250,000. So 250,000 pet rocks at the minimum had to be sold for him to become a millionaire. This is within the realm of possibilities for you. So let's go to another company, because I want to show you that there are other ways that people take an idea and they turn it into a business. There's a real estate company that teaches people how to invest in real estate to grow wealth. They put on a 3-day intensive training for $1,500. Okay, the last time that I went to this training, there were over 60 people in the room. Over 60 people in the room paid $1,500 to be there. That means that they took home at the very minimum $90,000. Here's the thing. They don't do that 3-day intensive training just one time or in one city. They travel across the nation to teach, and they even have an online component, which means that they do not have a cap or a limit on their income. So step 2, what is step 2, right? So we have the idea, you see that it's possible, but now it's like, okay, well, if you're just starting out, where do you go from here? Well, step 2 is write the vision. The vision is not your plan, okay? Some people think, oh, I'm going to write a business plan. We're going to, Yeah, this is where it happens. Your vision is not the plan. It is a part of the plan. And this is a step that many, they skip over. And so when I talk about vision, what I'm talking about is, what is the destination? So what does your business look like? What does your business look like in the final form? It is not just about having an idea, but what does it look like, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? If you want to have a business that's in a location, do you want to have multiple locations? Do you want to be global? Do you want to have a location in a different continent? What does it look like? How many employees do you want to have? The reason why you need a vision of the destination is because it acts as a goalpost, like you know where you are going, and it expands on the idea, but brings it into a bigger picture. And the vision should be big. It should scare you. It should scare you. But so many entrepreneurs get started, but they don't have a vision that expands outside of 1, 2, or 3 years of growth. So I'll give you an example. I was coaching an attorney on how to grow his law practice. And in the process of coaching him and asking some questions, it became clear that he had not thought about how he wanted to grow his practice. Did he want to be in multiple locations, multiple counties? How many employees did he want to have? That had not been clear at that point, because a lot of times people start businesses because they just want to get some extra income. So they started just to get more cash flow, not thinking about how can I build this out where it's not just bringing in cash to cover my bills or to pay for the little expenses, but it is generating wealth that you can then pass along to your family and create a legacy. So your vision is bigger, it's more broad, and please do not overlook this step, okay? Even if you don't necessarily know what it looks like or what it should look like, just dream, just write down some things, even if it sounds crazy to you, because you always have permission to go back and change it later. Because the vision is going to change, because as you get started moving, you're going to realize this doesn't work, this does work. I thought this is what I wanted, perhaps I don't want this. And you're going to begin making adjustments as you move in that direction. So step number 3 is where we begin planning. This is the blueprint, aka the game plan. So the blueprint, just like you build a house, your business has to have a foundation. Everything you build has to have a foundation. And the foundation of your business is so important. So when we talk about the vision, where you are going helps you begin to build in the necessary things you need in your business at the very beginning. Because a lot of entrepreneurs they start out and then they realize, oh, I needed this and I needed that. And that is a foundational thing in the business in order for them to get to the next level and grow. So understand that the blueprint is not the same as a business plan, but the blueprint is a larger picture. And I'm going to give you what I include in the blueprint that will help you. So the blueprint should, 1, include your vision. We already talked about that. The blueprint should also include your mission. So the vision is the destination. This is where you're headed. The mission is your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you starting your business? What is it that you are going to accomplish? Why does your business exist? Your mission acts as guardrails, right? Your mission acts as the thing that's driving you and fueling you moving forward towards the destination of vision. The mission is not how you plan to get there. The mission is just why. What's driving you to get there? The third thing that you have to have and include are your core values. Your core values. Core values are your beliefs about how you do business and how you live. So, for example, you guys see the logo on the left and the cow, right? You probably associate these two images with what company? Chick-fil-A, right? Chick-fil-A has a core value that they are about the Christian faith, meaning 6 days they work and the seventh they rest. So everybody knows that built into their business model is that on Sundays, Chick-fil-A is closed. Now, I drove past a Chick-fil-A today and the line was so long that I didn't even stop to get anything to eat, even though I wanted some Chick-fil-A. Right? But this is why it's so important, because their core values was put in place at the very beginning. They didn't have to think about it later on. So what are your core values? What are the things, what are the beliefs that you have about how to do business and how you do life, right? Are there certain things that you are not willing to do? Because you need to know that before you begin to launch your business, or you are going to compromise in certain areas. The fourth thing that your blueprint should include are your priorities, right? So your priorities should be driven by your core values. You have core values. Now, how are you going to prioritize that? This is how you rank what is important to you. So your core values and your priorities should line up with how you spend your time, your money, and your energy. If you see that your priorities don't line up with your core values, then perhaps that's not your priority, or you just need to make some adjustments. So this is so important, because we're going to talk about what needs to be a priority in your business later on, so that you don't get caught up doing things that are not going to get you to your destination. And definitely that's not going to help you generate some money, okay? Because we're not in business and we're not going into business just to be doing things. Business is intended for you to bring in an income. So number 5, what's the fifth thing that should be in your blueprint is your principles, okay? Your principles are the fundamental truths or the system of beliefs that are the foundation and will guide your behavior. One of the principles that are a part of my business, just to give you an understanding so you understand, is that I want to always create a win-win situation for my customers and my clients. And so what that means is that in everything I do, I will always over-deliver and give you more value, whether it's for free or you pay for it, because I want to make sure, because it's a part of my mission, that you are equipped every single time you come in contact with me, that you can go out and do something to create mental, spiritual, and financial wealth. Okay, so you have your vision, your mission, your core values, your priorities, and your principles. Here's the thing that I also want to include. You can do this for your personal life as well and your business. And the reason why I say do that is because entrepreneurs tend to just focus on the business side, but they don't think about what their priorities and their values are on their personal side. So if you value your family, then spending quality time will be a priority with your family. And that is so important, because when you are beginning to start a business and grow it, it takes a lot of time. So you're going to have to be intentional about how you schedule that. Right? And so just like Chick-fil-A closes on Sunday because of its vision, its mission, its core values, its priorities, and its principles, there are some McDonald's that are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. So there's not just one way that you can do business, but it's based on you. And you get to decide that as an entrepreneur. All right. So continuing on with your blueprint, right? This is what I call the current assessment. Your blueprint should include a current assessment of your money or financial capital, your time, and your energy. Look at here. All right, before I go into that, let me just finish the rest of this before we delve in. So your current assessment, money, time, energy. It should also include a current assessment of your skills, your knowledge, your expertise, your experience. It also can include your education, your talents, your gifts, and your abilities. All of that is important. Your current assessment can also include your relationships. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, as well as your purpose. If you know what your God-given purpose is, what you are called to do, that is important to your business and your current assessment for your blueprint before you launch, because that's going to give you clarity a lot on how to move forward and how you want to do business in terms of your business model. So let's go back to money, time, and energy. These three are very, very, very important, because in business, you're going to need money, time, and you're also going to need energy. And so these three are important because in your current assessment, what it is doing, it is preparing you to begin to think about what business model is going to work for you. There are different business models. You do not have to do business the way other people do business. And that's why it is so important for you to go through this blueprint and understand, right? There are some people who want to have a physical location. Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, they have a physical location where people can go to. That is a different business model. Target, Walmart, they have a physical location people can go to. But guess what? You can also order online. So they have e-commerce. So they have a hybrid business model. Then you have you have entrepreneurs and businesses who only operate online only. That is just an e-commerce. They operate only online. They do not have a physical location. They have a virtual business. Then you have people who, right, entrepreneurs, they might do live events. So Tony Robbins, sometimes Oprah, Yana Van Zant, right? They do live events where you can come and you can see them live in that location. And then other people do what I'm doing right here, which is you come online and you can teach from the comfort of your home or anywhere in the world. So there are many different ways that you can do business. You do not have to do it one way. You can go one-on-one, or you can go one on a small group, or you can go one on many. How you choose to do it is up to you. But the current assessment is going to allow for you to understand where you currently are, right? It's an assessment of where you currently are, because we all have lives. We all have things that pull us in different directions. So how much money do you have to invest in your business? Really, like, take an honest assessment. How much money do you have coming in? How much of that money are you willing to take and put it away and invest in your business? Because if you want to register your company for LLC or any legal structure, that's going to require you to probably pay some money. If you want to invest in your business, right, developing products or services, that might require an investment of money. So you want to know, how much money do you have to start your business? And also, how much money do you have to grow your business? Time. Some of you are working. Some of you are parents. Some of you are married. Some of you have obligations and things on your plate that you might not have 8 hours a day to dedicate to starting a business. That is something that you want to know. How much time do you have per day to dedicate to your business? The reason why I say per day is because you need to break it down within a 24-hour period. Are you going to dedicate 1 hour? Are you going to dedicate 2 hours? You need to have that time understood so that you know, okay, I can realistically dedicate 1 hour to my business. Now, what you do in that hour might be different than someone else, and that depends on your business model, but it also depends on something we're going to talk about a little bit later of what you should be focusing on and your priorities within business. The next thing is your energy, right? Let's be real. If you go to work and you're pouring out all day long, your energy is going to be a little drained in the afternoon. And so you really have to think about how much energy do you really have to nurturing. Really, when you're starting a business, it starts as like a baby, right? It is another baby that you are growing and maturing up into adulthood, both until it can walk and grow on its own. So how much energy do you have? You have to be honest about these three, because if because this is where the balance comes in. Sometimes you have time, but you don't have the money. And sometimes you have the money and you don't have time. And sometimes you don't have either, right? If you don't have either, we really need to talk about you launching that business, because that should not be the case. But one of the entrepreneurs, she's a psychologist, but she's also a pastor that I follow, Dr. Faith Wakoma. She talks about the balance between time and money, and I absolutely love how she places it. Love how she just, she talks about it, because she talks about if you don't have time, then you can leverage your money. You can leverage your money to grow your business, right? You can hire people. You can invest in people to do things for you. But if you don't have the money, but you have the time, well, now you have the time to learn to do things yourself, to learn how to start and grow and expand your business. So usually you have one or the other. And if you don't have both, then, we're going to talk about, right? That's more of a perception of, are you sure you don't have money? Now, I'm going to give you this one for free, because I tell people all the time, you have money. You absolutely have money. And you know how I know you have money? Because of, if you have clothes in your closet, if you have shoes in your closet, if you have purses, if you have jewelry, if you have a TV, if you have a cell phone, if you have items in your house, you have money. You just need to find a way to take that item and turn it into cash, right? That's what they call liquidation. Turn it into cash. And the reason why I know this is because years ago, when I lost my job after a long battle with struggling with depression, I needed money. And so what I began to do is I started a business on eBay where I literally was selling some of my items. I sold my Coach wallet. I sold jewelry. I sold, I got a Michael Kors bag one Christmas. I sold that bag. And let me tell you, it is nothing like hearing the cha-ching sound that you made money while you are sitting at home on Thanksgiving Day, tummy stuff and watching TV, relaxing. Or while you are at dinner with a friend and realize you just made money to cover the dinner. Amazing feeling, right? So you have access. You just need to open up your eyes to see what's available around you. Okay. So moving on. Next is the current assessment: skills, knowledge, expertise, experience, talent, gifts, abilities, relationships, and purpose. So what is it that you already know that you could teach, right? I know about business. I can teach this. What do you know that you could teach? That is something that, is within the realm of possibilities. But also, what skills do you have that you could leverage, right? So if you have accounting skills, well, guess what? There are nonprofits and there are organizations who need an accountant. You can leverage out your skills, or you can consult. Do you know how to right? Do you know how to sew? There are people who are teaching sewing classes. Expertise, what are you an expert in? I have a background in law, right? So I could teach on law. I have taught on law. What are your experiences? I have run mentoring programs. I have been a resident assistant, managing a floor of 40 to 80 college students, managing crisis interventions. I have worked alongside the police to address violations and policies, right? All of those experiences can then turn into, right, they're transferable skills and experiences that you can then bring into your business, whether you are doing consulting work, whether you are, teaching someone else how to do what you do, but you have to unpack it. And do not ignore a small experience as you volunteered one time somewhere, because you learned something that you can then see that those things add upon one another. The other thing are what is your talents, your gifts, and your abilities. There are some things you do that just comes naturally to you that does not come naturally to other people. Find what that is and find a way that you can use it to grow, expand your business, or to profit off of it. And don't feel bad about doing this, because look at here. If you have a job, you are essentially getting paid based off your skills, your knowledge. And we all know within the job market, your value increases the more you invest in yourself. The same is true in your business. Okay. So skills, knowledge, expertise, experience, talent, gifts, abilities. The next is relationships. I love this one. I love this one because this one is overlooked. Who are you connected to? Who are you currently connected to? Because there is wealth in your relationships and your connections. Some of you, if you are just starting out, your business is going to grow based on word of mouth, right? Your family and your friends spreading the information about your business to other people, right? So who are you connected to? For others, you have seen that your career trajectory grows because of your relationships, your connections. I had a relationship with a judge that gave me an opportunity to enter into another space within my legal career. So those relationships have value. You want to begin to currently assess what those relationships are. And of course, I already covered purpose. Purpose is important as well. So let's do a case study because I want to show you how this has actually taken place, right? There was an idea. This is John Eckhart. He is an apostle. He's also an entrepreneur, right? They had a Write With Us challenge where they were teaching people how to write books, but how to write from a spiritual perspective. They did this challenge in September. This is the photo from their website for the October challenge. So this is all they had for the website. Sign up, they marketed, they promoted it online. It was one day. For $20, people were able to come in, hear from experts in writing, learn things, right? This is what they got in the 1 day, 8-hour course. And 1,600 people signed up and accepted the challenge for $20. $20. So let's break these numbers down. 1,600 people paid $20. That is $3,200. Okay. That's revenue that came in, not profit, right? But revenue that came in, because they still would have to take out the processing fees. And if anybody, if they split the cut and everything like that, they would have to take that out. But $3,200 came in. They did that in September. They are getting ready to do it again in October. If the same amount of people sign up or more, they're looking at $64,000 that they've made total in just 2 months. So they did this 2 times, 16 hours of work, $64,000. Now, I'm not saying that when you start off, it's going to be like this, right? But if you keep going, understand that you don't have to charge a huge amount of money for your products or services. But here's the thing. He has people joining him. So he's not doing this by himself. He pulled in from his relationships. He used his experiences, his skills, his knowledge, because he's published books, but he's also using his gifts and his purpose. So you want to begin thinking about in your assessment, how can you do the same and leverage that? All right, let's move on. So the next part of your blueprint, your game plan, should be a projected assessment. This is where people don't necessarily think about what they need to actually not just go from to go from idea, but to go to business. How am I actually going to have a business, right? Because a business is something that brings in revenue, not just one time, but continually. So the people who you're going to need, are you going to need employees? Are you going to need independent contractors? These two are different, right? Especially when it comes to how much profit you keep and retain by going with the independent contractor versus employee? Are you going to need interns? Who's going to be on your team? Now, I'm not going to discuss what goes into a team in a business in this class, but in the building a legit business, I do talk about who are the team members that you want to start thinking about, and that are essential to a business as you're growing it. And the next are your family and friends. Now, here's the other thing that should also be included in your projected assessment. When you are thinking about your business, a lot of times people will tell you, and I think it is a good idea to look at the marketplace. Who's already out there? Now, just because somebody is doing what you want to do does not mean that you cannot also enter the marketplace, right? You have McDonald's and you have Burger King. They both sell burgers. But here's the thing. You can have strategic partnerships. So McDonald's and Burger King has created, quote unquote, an informal strategic partnership where McDonald's is raising money for against cancer. And for a day, Burger King decided not to sell Whoppers to help support McDonald's cause. So you can have strategic partnerships even with so-called competitors. But also you want to have strategic partnerships with people who align with your brand. So now we're talking again about what's your vision, your mission, your message, the things that are core to your business that we talked about. And then you can have strategic partnerships with people who are in your same market, but they are in a different niche. So if you offer, say you offer house cleaning services, somebody who is also providing services for the home, maybe it's cutting grass, they can partner. So now they have a joint partnership where, we're partnering together to provide all of the services needed for someone's home. They clean the inside, the other people take care of the outside, right? So think about who can you strategically partner with. All right. The next part of your blueprint and your projected assessment is what knowledge do you need, because you don't know what you don't know. And so when starting a business, you're going to have to learn. There's just certain things you're just going to have to learn that you just didn't know starting out. So what knowledge do you need? And you may not know that just yet. But also, what skills do you need? When I started, I didn't realize the skills that I needed, such as graphic design, communication skills. I had no idea that is something I needed. Okay. Another part of your projected assessment should be capital. Now, here is where I break it down. These are mostly, these are sociology terms, but they are still important, and we've talked about this. So financial capital. What financial capital do you need to start and grow or expand your business? Do you need investors? Do you need a bank loan? Do you need credit? Like, what financial capital do you need? Because if, in the current assessment that you made, if you do not have enough money to invest in your business, now we're talking about where are you going to get the capital from? Are you going to do a fundraiser, right? Have family and friends invest in your business. So those are just some of the things that you want to start thinking about. The next is your social capital. So social capital is your network of relationships. Are there certain relationships that you want to begin to get into, right? Certain circles, certain environments. What relationships do you need? For some people, you might need to disconnect from some people and disalign because they're not headed where you are going. So you want to think about that. The next is human capital. So human capital are skills, knowledge, and experience that an individual or population possess. So human capital, when we talk about building your team, while you might come to the table with certain skills, a certain knowledge, gifts, and things, way that you do things, when you're growing your business, you want to start thinking about, well, what other skills, what other knowledge and experiences that I want to look for in team members and partnerships to bring them on board to help grow. Because you don't have to be an island of one to grow your business. All right. Projected assessment should also include time. You only have 24 hours in a day. And so something that I teach on and I teach on is a method called What's on Your Plate. So looking at what's on your plate and what can you realistically do? Is this the season for you to start your business and grow it? Or are you just, need to be using this time a little bit differently right now? And this is important too, because just because you have a lot on your plate doesn't mean that you can't start your business. It just means that maybe you need to choose a different model to start with and then grow it from there as you get more time. The next part of your projected assessment is access, right? What access do you need to places, spaces, people, and information? Here's a freebie. One of the ways that you can get access, right, to information, to people, spaces, and places is by volunteering. There are organizations, there are businesses, maybe they're doing things on a grander scale than you are, where you can volunteer your time, your skills, your energy, your experiences to, one, get access sometimes to free education that you need that otherwise you would be paying for, or two, that you begin to make connections that you otherwise might not have been able to do that because you didn't have access to that space where those people were. So to give you an example, I volunteered for a Kingdom Business Conference, and the conference cost was $900. Someone reached out to me, said, hey, you might be interested. I volunteered. I learned so much about business, government contracts, and just the logistics of running a conference and putting on the production for, over, 50 people, but also managing transcribers for, people who are translators, people who are translating for people from over 1,500 countries. Excuse me, guys. I'm trying to make sure that you guys can see me. Okay. All right. So, moving on to the next piece of your blueprint. So this is where you start planning. In this piece, this is where there's the roadmap. So this is where you actually start planning. How do you go from where you are to where you need to be next? So this is where you start breaking down the steps. So you have the idea, right? You have the vision, which is your destination. How are you going to get there, right? And so this is where you just begin to say, okay, well, the first step might be that we do some research. The next step might be, we actually start working on that project. So this is where you break down those steps, and each step will be broken down into individual steps. And the key here is to be honest. What can you do starting tomorrow? Because there is something you can do. You don't have to do everything, but there's something you can do. So this is the roadmap. 5 steps to go from idea to business. Step 4 is strategic action, right? So now that you have your blueprint, now you have to execute your blueprint. Execution is so important because you can have all the ideas in the world. You can have all of the plans in the world, but if you don't do it, it does not matter. You can have $1 million business idea, but because you didn't do anything with it, it didn't bring you that $1 million that it could have. So execution and strategic action looks like doing research, like we talked about. Research is not just a part of the planning process, it's also a part of you taking action, right? Because some people think, well, I'm just doing research and think that's not important. Research is still important. It's an action. Just don't stay in the research stage forever. The second is creating a product. Maybe it's setting up your social media page or your website, doing market research, registering your business, or getting appropriate licenses. All of this is a part of your strategic action. So make sure that you plan out, you're actually taking action on what you need to do to make this a reality. All right. Now, I mentioned this, and this is so important. So important. So important. There are 3 major areas that you want to be focusing on when you are beginning to execute and take action. The first is revenue generating activities. Do not get started in business doing things that are not going to lead you to generating revenue. If this is not going to help you bring in money, do not do it. Let me say it again. If it is not going to help you bring in money, do not do it, right? Unless it is, I'm not saying that the first thing you do has to, bring in money, but it has to be a part of a system, a strategy that is going to bring in revenue. The second part that you want to focus on is a return on your investment. For everything you do, is it bringing a return on your investment? So we talk about the third is capital investment, right? Your time, your money, and your energy. So if you are putting in time on social media, is that bringing a return on your investment? If you're putting in money on ads, is that bringing a return on your investment, right? So everything you do, you want to make sure that you're actually not just putting out, but you're getting a return. On top of that, you also want to make sure that your investment, that you are putting in the time, the money, and energy into the right sources. When I first started my business, guys, I made all of the wrong mistakes. I listened to so-called experts. I spent like $1,500 on a landing page that I did not need, did not use, right? I spent ridiculous amounts of money because I did not know what I'm sharing with you right now, is that I should have been focusing on revenue generating activities and not just buying fancy trinkets and fancy things people said I needed that was not going to give me a return on my investment and that I did not need so early on in my business. So that's something for you to think about. And step number 5, we're coming to the end of the 5 steps, is evaluate, adjust, revise, and execute again. So this is a very important step because you might get started out in business and like, okay, this didn't work. Why didn't this work? Whatever you do, do not give up so quickly because you need time to try a new way of doing things before you just give up and say it doesn't work. So you want to look at when you do something, okay, what worked and what did not work? Did I hit my projected numbers? Is there room for improvement? And then how can I improve? And this is where you can say, okay, how can I improve maybe my marketing strategy? How can I improve my presentation? How can I improve my product or service? So you're always thinking about how can you improve it and to make it better. The second part of step 5 is adjust. So you might have to make some adjustments, but make those adjustments based on data and not emotions, okay? Because data, the numbers will show you, okay, is this working? Is this not working? Right? So if you create a product and you put it out there, but you don't see sales from it, the data is showing you there's something off and maybe there's an adjustment that needs to be made. Revise. So revise is making necessary revisions in your current process, systems, your copy, marketing strategies, etc., etc. Copy is the actual written material, okay? So it's not the copyright legal term, but copy is the actual words that are being used. And then execute, do it again. Don't just do it once. Keep showing up, keep doing it again. Please do not just grow deterred because it didn't work the first time. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. All right. All right. So check in really quickly. Are there any questions? Please let me know. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that you're like, I need a little bit more on that. Maybe it's unclear, or are you good to go? You can just type it in the chat box. We're just going to pause right here before we move on to the next thing. And if you don't have any, that's fine. All right, no questions. Let's get started. All right, so one of the reasons that businesses don't take off is, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Fear. It's fear. And you probably knew it was fear, but I want to break that down a little bit more because there's different types of fear. So businesses don't take off because sometimes the owner or employees are afraid of failure. They're afraid of success, rejection, judgment, criticism, and maybe even afraid of the unknown. If you are pioneering a new trail, right, it can be unknown territory. And so there is fear that can be associated with it. But here's the thing. If fear is magnetized, right, we focus on the fear and we don't move forward, it can paralyze you into inaction. And once that happens, you can take one event and turn it into a sign that your business is somehow not going to be successful. Now, here's what I want to remind you. Fear is just one thing, right? Like, do not let the fear stop you from going. Like, I saw a post earlier that was saying, what would you do if you could get rid of the fear or something like that? Here's the thing. Even if the fear never goes away, keep going. Because as I kept moving forward and forward and forward, what I began to see was that the fear was lying and that I actually was having success even if I didn't think it was. And so oftentimes what tends to happen with fear is that it shows up in different ways. And so people who procrastinate and they're not moving forward and they think they're lazy, sometimes the root of it is fear and they don't even realize it, right? Like, you're not procrastinating on doing it because, you think you're lazy or procrastinating, you don't want to do it. It's actually something else, because whenever fear is present, people will naturally run towards pleasure than they will towards fear. And so, when I first started and I taught my masterclass on the 5 unconscious habits, hindering your happiness and your success, one of the strategies that I gave was that if you want to get over the fear wall, why don't you look at the thing that you need to do as exciting, like you want to do it. And the more you talk yourself into it, the more you begin to want to do it. All right. Another thing that fear does is it puts a blinder on your ability to see. And when you lack clarity, you don't move forward. Right? So fear begins to blind you. It begins to tell you it's not going to work. And because you can't see the way it will work, you don't move forward. The other thing that fear will have you doing is it will have you stuck in a comparison trap. And comparison is so deadly because you can get started comparing yourself to someone else's business. And you don't even, especially on social media, and you don't even know what's really happening behind the scenes. So you must believe in your ability to be successful. You must speak that over your life and your business. And before you even see the business grow, right, remember that your business can still be a 7-figure business even when you haven't generated any income. It's just about finding the way to get there. And understand that it takes time to build. So once you believe that what you have to offer is good, because that took me some time. I remember when I sold my first ebook for $12, I was like, are people going to buy? Right? But they bought it. And then I sold something for $47. And I was like, ooh, are people going to buy it? They bought it. Then I sold something for $97. Are people going to buy it? They bought it. So, then it was, I put out my speaking fee for $1,500. Guess what? I was paid. So once you believe that what you have to offer is good, but even if you don't, right, just keep showing up, you will see that others begin to believe the same thing. So sometimes you won't know it until you keep going. And sometimes people will begin telling you. Like, it was only when people started telling me, like, oh yeah, this was really powerful. Oh yeah, this really helped me, that I began to see, oh, there's something here that I can begin moving forward and using. So the other thing I want to say about fear is that fear will keep you from asking for the cash and promoting your product or service. You can have the best thing since sliced bread, but if people don't know about it or they don't know how to pay you and get money into your pocket, what is the point? All right. So here is a bonus that I want to give you so that you can make sure cash comes into your hands. So everything you do, you want to make sure that people know clearly the answer to these things, because this is going to help you, one, get your name out there, get some visibility, but it's also going to help you begin to see sales come in. So people would need to know, who are you, right? Answering, who are you? The second thing is, what do you do, right? So being clear, what do you do? The next thing that you want to ask yourself is, what do I offer, or how can I help them? So businesses meet a need, right? How can you help them? The fourth thing is, how am I the right person to help them? So essentially, right, why you? Why you over somebody else? Why are you the one? And the next is, how can they invest, right? How can they get what you're offering? And this is the invitation where we call it a call to action, right? Here's how you can pay me, and this is how you will get the services that you need. Always understand that some will buy, some will not. And some, you just planted a seed, and by watering that seed, you're providing value through educating them, you're following up with another author, or you cultivate that person to be a potential customer or client. You just never know how it is going to work. And so this is not just about brand and brand messaging, but it's also a part of marketing and sales, and how you position your value in a saturated market and stand out. And the answers to these questions should be in everything you do, from social media to your website to everything you do, because you're going to be encountering people who don't know you, right? So if you are a new author, right? Okay, who are you? Okay, what do you do? You're an author. Okay, well, what do you offer? Oh, I have my book. Okay, well, why should I buy your book? Like, why your book over another book? Why am I going to invest this $20 however much your book is, with you versus someone else? So you always want to be thinking about how can you answer these questions to help people understand the value you will provide them, so that they can actually pay you for your services. So let's get ready to move on to the next part, which is creating multiple streams of income from one idea. Okay, so I was going to ask you guys to give me an idea, but I'm going to give you one, right? And what I want you to do is, on a sheet of paper, I want you to begin to brainstorm 2 or 3 ways that this one idea can turn into another revenue stream. So what I'm talking about, right, is how do we go from, I am going to say, we have a book, right? Someone has created a book. We have a book. Someone has become an author in a book. What can they do now to take that one book and now create multiple streams from that book? And what I mean by that is, they don't have to do, they're taking what they did in that book, and they're creating another way of bringing in more income. I want you to take about 60 seconds and just brainstorm, and you can type it in the chat box, 2 to 3 ways that person can take the book and monetize it. Okay, so take some time and do that. And when you're done, just type in the chat box. And of course, if you're watching the replay, you can just write it down. And then I'm going to share with you the list of things that I came up with. All right, let's see if you came up with some of the ideas that I have, right? So we have a book, and we're talking about how we can monetize it. So one of the ways that we can take a book and create another revenue stream from it is to take the content of that book and then begin to create a online class, right? So a masterclass like this can be created from a book. It can be paid or it can be free. The other thing that can take place from the another revenue stream that can be created is to take the contents of the book and begin to create a boot camp, right? So there are boot camps. You can also create training courses from a book. You can create a coaching program, right? I love the idea that you can have a physical book and you can have an ebook. You can also put it in different languages. Yes, right? You can take your book and you can create a live seminar around it. A live seminar. You can create your book, have your book, and a part of your book, you can have a podcast. You can have a membership as a part of your book. Subscriptions, right? You can also do speaking engagements. So this is all ways in which you can take one idea and create multiple revenue streams. You don't just have to have one thing. And the beauty of that is you are not creating something new, right? You already wrote the book if that's what you're going to do. It's just now taking what you have already done and now taking some of it and putting it into another format. Okay. Another thing that I didn't include here, right, is if you have, let's say you take the book and you do one of an online masterclass, or you do a speaking engagement. Anything you do, right? You can record yourself. You can record yourself, and you can take the recording and create a digital product from the recording. So now you're creating, whether it's an MP3, CDs, DVDs, right? You can record yourself at speaking. You can do so much just from having one book. You can also turn that book into an audio book. So this is what I mean by you do not have to just rely on one mode of making money, but you can have one idea, write a book, and now you have a business, right? You start training people, you start doing boot camps, coaching programs. That is a business. And you can travel nationwide. You can even travel statewide, but you can also travel globally with that. All right. So let's take another idea, because I want you to be able to see how this goes in so many different ways, right? So I met a entrepreneur gentleman who his idea is to create a mobile coffee, let's call it a coffee shop, where you can come and you can buy your coffee from a mobile coffee shop. But you can also bring your dog, right? Very unique, very unique. So from that one idea, take some time, and I want you to brainstorm, right? He has a mobile coffee shop, right? A mobile vehicle where he's selling coffee from it, and he can bring you can bring your pets, your dogs, right? A unique market. I want you to take, let's say 30 seconds, and I want you to just come up with one idea that he can now use to generate another source of income from just that mobile coffee dog shop. So let's do that right now. And you can just type it into the chat box. And of course, if you're watching a replay, you just write it down. Yes, I did. A mobile vehicle where the gentleman can, I did say mobile coffee dog shop, but essentially dog owners can bring their dog and they can come and buy coffee from the mobile vehicle, the mobile truck that this guy will be using. So that is his business idea. All right. We have dog walking. Look, hey, that this is where creativity comes in, right? Because you're just dreaming and you're just thinking about how can I go from this one thing and create multiple ways to make money from it. So here's a couple of things that I had, right? One of the things he could do is, as people are coming to get their coffee with their dog, right? He could even, with their permission, take a photo of them with their dog, and he can also ask them, about the coffee. From that, he can create a catalog of testimonials about the coffee experience, what it tastes like, but also it would be a dog catalog. Do you know how many people buy books or catalogs with dogs in it? So that's one thing. The other thing is he can hire people to run other coffee trucks with him. And he could also teach people about coffee. So say, for instance, right, he has everything, but he cannot get the truck up and running just yet because for whatever reason, inspections, you name it. Then he has an opportunity where, well, he could start teaching about coffee, right? He can teach what he knows about coffee, and from that begin to sell it. And that builds into, that becomes another avenue or revenue stream, because some people, you can teach people how to make it themselves, how to actually crush the coffee beans, what water or what temperature of water works best with this coffee to get the best aroma and flavor from it. So there is so much within the realm that he can do, but it all is about creativity. So you did a great job coming up with multiple streams of income from one idea. And the reason why I wanted you to, to be a part of this is because when you were sitting at home trying to draw out, like your idea in your business plan, this is where you just start throwing out the ideas out and getting the juices flowing, so you understand that there is a lot available. And if you are unsure, you can always go online and just start looking at other different business models to see what is available to you. All right, so any questions right now before we move on? Any questions before we move on? All right, if I don't see any questions, I am going to keep this train moving. All right, let's get to cash flow. All right, because cash matters, okay? Because you can have a business where more money is going out than coming in. And that means that the cash is not flowing through your business. And so a lot of people want to know, how can I make money today? Okay, I want to start making money today. And I want to give you 10 ways that you can start bringing in the cash. The first is you can sell what you already have or you already know. You can put that in any format. You can put it in an ebook, a book, you can put it in an online class. However, whatever you have, you can do that. The second is you can offer your skills and expertise. So Fiverr is a great way where you can offer your skills for other people to hire you out and contract you. You can also consult. There are many different things you can do. The third thing you can do is you can repurpose current content. So if you've already been creating things, you can just repurpose it. You can just, edit it, create create something new from it, but use what you already have. The fourth, and this is what I love, is affiliate marketing. So when we talk about making a profit off of someone else's work, affiliate marketing is where you can literally take someone else's work and you market it for a percentage or for part of the profit. Okay, so you didn't do any work. You're just marketing and selling somebody else's stuff so that you get paid, right? But they also get paid. If you are like, yeah, I like that, but I already have some things and I want, but I'm interested in an option, you can create an affiliate marketing program. And so what that means is you have a product or a service that is already packaged and ready to go. And then you get people who are interested in making money. They sign an agreement, and then they become a marketer of your product or service. So they're doing the work and you're getting paid, but they're also getting paid. All right. The sixth thing is you can become a reseller, right? Black Friday is coming up. You can go, you can purchase items, and then you can resell it. There are also other companies that allow for you to buy and resell things for a higher or lower price, right? There are people who teach on how you can do that with Amazon, how you can do that with eBay, but also if you are a couponer, this is a great opportunity where you can buy things at a discount price and then resell them to other people. The seventh way that you can start bringing in cash flow is a membership and subscription program. So if you already have a business, if you already have a community, you can create a membership or subscription program, which is a monthly recurring revenue coming into your business. Awesome sauce, right? Who wouldn't love residual income, getting a check every month? Number 8 is revise your marketing and sales plan. So sometimes it's not that your business or something is off. Sometimes it just means you need to make some revisions to your current plan to begin bringing in that cash. The ninth, and it's one that I love as well, is a private label rights. So what this is this is a legal way that you can buy someone's work legally, right? You have to read the license, but buy a license of someone's work, and you can literally make changes to their work, but you can also sell it as is and put your name on it legally. So you could sell it as if it's your own work, and you can become an instant author. So if you're interested in that, you can just look at private label rights. That is an opportunity. You can even use part of it if you want to. And it's some of the things, depending on the website you go to, it's very, very reasonable. And the last way to bring in cash, now this takes a little bit more time. I'm just going to be honest with you. The first one, which is becoming a franchise owner. So if you have the capital or you have relationships that you can bring into to do a deal, you can become a franchise owner of an already existing and profitable business. I have seen, I was in Zips a couple of weeks ago, which is a dry cleaning place, and they have a plaque on the wall that basically said this establishment was owned by another company. Zips is already a company that has many locations, but somebody purchased the right to be the owner of that Zips location, right? The same can be true of a McDonald's, a Subway. You can become the owner of an already existing brand. The other thing you can do is you can walk into a ready-made business model. There are some companies that already have everything set up in place, including the branding, the templates, all of the marketing materials for you, that all you have to do is sometimes pay a fee and you become a part of the business model, and you walk out with a business ready to begin operating and generating cash. Credit repair is one of those examples of a ready-made business model that you can begin doing. And they train you on how to teach and how to do it and how to sell. So those are the ways to generate cash flow today. So real quick recap of what we covered. We went over the 5 steps to go from idea to business. And let me tell you, the 5 steps are just a broad overview, right? There's not really 5 steps. Right? There's no easy way to go from idea to business. However, these are the 5 steps that are a general overview that covers most of what it takes to go from idea to business. The second thing we covered is how to create multiple streams of income from one idea. We also covered one of the number 1 reasons businesses don't take off. We also looked at how to start generating cash flow today. And I gave you a couple of bonuses along the way. So, this is where I get to talk to you. You let me know, how was this masterclass? What were your takeaways, your aha moments? Did this help you? Right? Did this help you? How has this shifted you into being prepared to actually launch your business and be prepared to make a profit when Black Friday or Christmas comes along, or any other opportunity where you are able to make money. So this is where you have an opportunity. Let me know. Let me know. Oh man, that is awesome. I am so excited. Look at that. Okay. So we have one right here. Said like the information, it was very insightful and really just transformed her way of thinking of how she can really begin to just grow from just one idea rather than having so many sporadic ideas. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. We have another. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So the current assessment of how you break down everything is something that you took away and was very valuable to you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So we have them coming in. This is awesome. This is awesome. All right. So I'm going to read those a little bit later. But this is what I want to do, because let me tell you, I can't give you everything that I have, but I want to help you go to the next level. And so I have coming up, building a legit business intensive, right? Where you can build and grow a legal business. So this is going to be an online class. I'm going to give you, I'll show you the details. It's going to be a 4-hour intensive, where we're going to go through the legal steps on starting a business. So I have a legal background. So we're going to go through the legal steps on starting a business, because you can get started in business, but if you do not know how to do it the correct way, it's going to cost you money and time, right? So we're going to talk about legal structures. We're going to talk about licenses. We're going to talk about choosing a business name free of trademark issues. So the reason why this is so important is because there's an entrepreneur who now she is making 6 figures, 7 figures, right? She is killing the game, especially using social media. When she first started out, she had a business where, it was about juicing, and she was, she was starting it out. She just branded it. She gave it a name. She was really starting to get going. As soon as she started really bringing in profits, what began to take place is that a company who had a similar name, I believe actually no, they had the same name. Larger company sent her a cease and desist letter, basically telling her that you need to stop and you need to remove yourself, or we're gonna take this, like you need to change your name. So she had to go through the painful process of changing her name of her business or of her brand so that she could continue to make business. So imagine that painful process. If you have created physical products, you have labeling on them, and all of a sudden now you have to change that name, because a name is not just your business name, but it's also the name you put on products. It's also the name you put on services. It's every name you use that could potentially already be taken and cost you time and money later on down the line. The other thing that's important about legal structures is because a lot of people think like, oh, like I'll just get an LLC, not realizing that there is much more to having a legal structure than it's just like, let me just get an LLC. Especially if down the road you begin making money, you're going to want to start thinking about a different tax structure for your business. And so that's where we're going to get into, like, what is it like, where can you start and where are you going, or where might you lead up, and then what you can do when you get down to that, when you get down the road. The other thing that we're going to cover in building a legit business intensive is the business breakdown. So a lot of people think, you just have an idea and you get going. But there are many different parts of a business, right? Many different departments. And if you are a solo entrepreneur, there are different hats that you have to wear. And so we're just going to break it down and make it clear for you about what that is, so that you walk into building your business understanding that these are all of the different components, and you're not shocked when you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Right? So a part of, I'll give you an example. A part of your business, right, is your sales. Like, right? What is your sales like? Your sales strategy, your sales team. but also your customer service. What does your customer service look like? And this is a part of also going into the other legalities that are a part of business. What are your return policies? Do you have disclaimers? Some of the things that you might need if you are going to have a website, what needs to be on there? If you're going to have an email list, the laws have changed. What needs to be a part of your email list? So we're going to be going into all of that, and I'm gonna put it all in there so that you have it. The next part that the Building a Legit Business Intensive is going to cover is sales. This is like a prime part of your business. So we're going to talk about profitable business sales models, and I'm going to give you a couple examples. I'm also going to give you tools and tips for sales and how to diversify your sales. So we're going to be going into that in this intensive. The next thing, which I think is my very favorite part, is also resources. And so in this, I'm going to give you the resources that will help you begin to grow and expand your business. So if you have $0, I'm going to give you the resources where you can begin using these softwares that are important to your business to begin growing it and getting it off the ground. So what that means is, right, accounting software. How are you taking account for the money that's coming in? How are you running your profit and loss statements? How do you know what's taking place? Where are you pulling the reports from to file with your annual tax returns? And depending on your legal structure, right, there are some other requirements that you might have to do. So in the resources, I'm going to give you some, what are some tools for accounting software you can use, including one accounting software that is free, right? And no, it's not QuickBooks. So I'm going to be sharing resources with you, as well as resources for graphic design, resources for email marketing, all of the different resources that could and possibly be utilized in your business, regardless of whether you are selling a physical product or a service. No matter what you are doing, that is what's going to take place. I'm also going to provide resources of experts in the field that you can go and listen to for particular parts of learning in your business. Because let me tell you, there are a lot of people out here, but not everybody is actually getting results. But also, I just don't want you to waste the time that I wasted not learning from people who can actually help you move your business forward. So the resources is an opportunity for you to really glean from and get the material, get the information, get the tips that otherwise you will be searching for yourself, that I'm going to give you in this intensive. And last but not least is coaching. So this is where you get an opportunity where we're working on your business, right? So this is not just like I'm just giving you information. No, we're working on your business. So you're also going to get a workbook where you're going to begin identifying, okay, what is your legal structure going to be? Okay. We're going to start going through this process, right? What is your business name going to be? And I'm even going to break down, because there's a difference between a business name, a trade name, right? A business name, a trade name, and then a brand name. So we're going to be breaking those things down so that you understand and that you go forth with confidence, but you also go forth with clarity on how you're going to do your business. So you're going to get a chance to get some coaching from me. All right. So I also have some bonuses that I'm going to be giving out, as well as a part of those who register for the Building a Legit Business Intensive. One of the bonuses is my Entrepreneur's Quick Legal Checklist and Guide to Starting a Business. This is not online for sale, guys. It is not on Amazon. It is not out there. So you're going to get this bonus when you sign up for the intensive. This takes you through all of the different steps legally for starting your business, right? It's not all of the legal things that you need to think about with your business, but it's where you start. Okay. So in the intensive, though, we are going to talk about some of the legalities of things that you want to consider with your business, and depending on your business model and where you want to take it, some of the things you might want to consider. So if you have a skincare product line, one of the things that we're going to talk about, and one of the things I'm probably going to tell you is, like, You know, you want to check with the Food and Drug Administration, their regulations, because if you want your product in stores for them to sell, then you want to make sure that you have followed the all of the things you need to, right? Cross the T's, dot the I's, to make sure you are legally in position to profit, but you also have a legit business. So that was a freebie. Ha ha ha. The next thing is I am going to give you a bonus of my ebook, 12 questions to ask and answer before starting a business. So in this one, there are questions developed about that gives you a little bit more clarity about your business. So for instance, you know, are you going to operate your business from your home, or are you going to operate it, you know, you're going to get an office somewhere? The reason why this is important is because if you operate within your home, right, there are certain tax benefits to having a home business, and how you can begin to take advantage of some of those tax breaks with using part of your home. Another one, and a part of that as well, and I tell a story in the ebook about this, is that, you know, if you live in a home association, you want to be familiar with the rules barring businesses in that association. And so in the ebook, I tell a story, but I also tell how just because there is a rule barring you from doing something doesn't mean it's the end all be all. There are ways around it. That is why I love it all. There are ways around it. Okay. Another part of the question that I asked here is, are you going to have physical products or digital products, or a mix of both? There are certain states that digital products are not taxed sales wise. So every state mostly has a sales tax, right? In Maryland, the sales tax is 6%. But in the state of Maryland, if I sell a digital product, I do not have to pay 6% on the money I made from selling that digital product. So having just these legal nuggets and understanding ahead of time allows for you to begin to structure your business, but also begin to do business where you start thinking about how can you retain more profit, right? The idea is to keep more money in your hands. And so building a legit business, the intensive is all about helping you save time, money, and energy, building your business the legit way, so that you can keep more of your money. So 4-hour intensive, you're going to get a workbook. We're going to cover the legal steps in starting a business, the business breakdown, sales, resources, coaching, plus 2 bonuses. I'm going to give you a copy of my 2 ebooks. Okay. So one of the things I also want to add is that there is a 100% money back guarantee. So after 10 days of the intensive, you're like, nah, this really didn't work for me. No questions asked. Send me an email and I will give you 100% of your money back. No questions asked. You're also going to get 6 months access to the Building a Legit Business Intensive. So for some of you, you might not be at the stage yet where you're ready to like register an LLC and launch, but maybe you know you're getting there and you want to take advantage of this amazing sweet offer before it goes. And so what you can do is you can invest now, and you have it for 6 months. You can chew on it. You can keep going back to it, glean from it, and then you'll have it for later on. So for the next 48 hours until 11:59 p.m. Eastern, right? So for the next 48 hours before the clock strikes midnight, this intensive is only going to be $37. Only $37. Only $37. However, after the next 48 hours, the price is going to increase to $57. And then after that, it's going to go to the regular price of $97. So I because you were here tonight, because you, invested your time and energy, I really want to give you something, give you an opportunity to invest, to go a little bit further, to make sure that you build a foundation for your business that's going to last and help you build wealth, but also give you some tools that will begin to equip you, especially with legal knowledge, to take advantage of the new tax laws, take advantage of generating wealth, and do so in a way that you keep more money in your pockets. All right. So let me be very clear. Building a legit business intensive is not legal counsel. Okay. This is not where we're going to create an attorney-client relationship. It is just giving you a business education, but also a legal education. So this is legal education and information only. I will not be giving legal counsel in this intensive, okay? Because every state is different. So depending on what state you're in, the laws might be different, and you might not even be within the U.S. So I just want that to be clear, right? And we'll talk about that, right? The need for disclaimers to legally protect you in the building a legit business intensive. So it's $37. It's an amazing stiller price, 100% money back guarantee within 10 days of the intensive. 6-month access is only available for the next 48 hours after you watch this. All right. So if you're like, yes, I want this. I'm ready to invest. I'm ready to invest in myself. I'm ready to make sure that I legally have a legit business and I can grow, I can scale it, and I can become profitable without running into legal dangers down the road. You can go to, here's a website right here at thelawofdoingbusiness.com. Lawofdoingbusiness.com is going to take you to the website where you can purchase the intensive for $37 for the next 48 hours, excuse me. The next 48 hours. After that, the price will increase, okay? For those who register by email, you will get the discount code for the $57 price range after the next 48 hours. So you have to enter the code BOSS19. Otherwise, you're going to see the regular price of $97, okay? This is online. It is 4 hours. And honestly, for everything that you will be receiving, this is a still of a price to make sure that your business gets off the ground and has the proper structure to really grow it. So here is the website again. You can go and do that right now. Please do not drag your feet. Don't drag your feet. All right. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your investment in this masterclass. Again, you can go to lawofdoingbusiness.com. The discount code is BOSS19 for the next 48 hours. So you can take advantage of this amazing offer to join the Building a Legit Business Intensive for $37 before the price increases. So have a good night. I hope to hear from you about how you enjoyed the class, your testimonials, your takeaways, how this really helped you get going. And thanks again. All right, so class is off session. Class is out of session, excuse me. So I'm going to stop the recording right here. And if anyone has any questions about the offer, the Building a Legit Business Intensive, if you have any questions about what was covered in the masterclass, you can include them in the chat box. You can also send me an email. You can also send an email at Shayla, Chayla, at IamShaylaJackson.com. And just make sure you put in the subject line questions regarding legal biz intensive. Okay. Again, have a good night. Or for those watching the replay, I hope you have a wonderful day, week. And again, thank you for joining.